What happens when you animate your OC in class then share it on Twitter? Well, obviously everyone starts making fun of you. Back in March 2026, artist JauntywebAU experienced this with their original character, Courtney. Hello, I'm Dovin, this is my friend Samantha, and today we're going to talk about smart stuff. Also, after the main topic of this video, I'm going to read some comments from my April Fool's drawing, because y'all wrote some funny stuff down there.
And please, do not attack anyone in the video. If you want to argue, please do so in my comment section.
But we'll verbally attack you for getting us stranded in this desert of your dumb Cybertruck.
How was I supposed to know you're supposed to charge it every day?
What, did you think it was solar powered?
No, but it did make me look cool.
Literally everyone who saw it flipped us off.
Oh, I thought they were just giving me thumbs up.
Anyway, March 24th, 2026, JauntywebAU, which I'll just say Jaunty as it's way shorter to say, posted an animation on Twitter. The animation features his original dinosaur character Courtney, with the rig being created by Kotinkoff. It's animated to an audio clip from the 1996 film Scream. Now, there were a lot of mixed reactions to this, but essentially a lot of people went, "Why'd you show us in the class?" This popular tweets at about 122,000 likes. There's from that of Twitter user Misery Manifest who said,
"Having to sit in university class as the weird shut-in kid shows his furry porn addict OC jiggling around and having to cope with the fact he's getting a higher grade than you."
Another popular tweet that got over 100,000 likes was that from Ignite MK08, posted,
"The concept of sitting in class in utter disbelief as the weird kid no one talks to shows his fat, obese, fetish OC jiggling like a tray of pudding in an act of complete social suicide."
On top of the idea of showing this in a college classroom, people would comment on the way in which the character was animated. Twitter artist Not Merits would post,
"People defending this piss me off so much. Fat people exist, you know. Yeah, and they don't jiggle like fucking water balloons."
What came out of this would be some people sharing their experiences in art class, such as user FarfoFletch who would tweet,
"My art teacher used to skin me alive whenever I drew a furry doing normal shit, and this guy animates their Gooner OC in 4K at university.
Well, those are some of the more liked tweets. I did see a comment from another artist about something similar in their class. Twitter artist Lane Hejnan would type about a person 2 years above them who can animate very well. However, his work was borderline pornographic, but because of how well his work was, people would be studying his art. His final year animation was, quote, about a fat Finnish man who had a woman locked in a tower who tried to escape, which she was caught and force fed to death, exploded, and it ended with the guy rolling in her organs.
Honestly, that's pretty funny. To animate your fetish so well, the professors show it to younger students to weed off the students who can't handle when art gets too gross. Also because maybe a lot of the other animations probably weren't as good.
Yeah, looking back at the Courtney animation, it's pretty tame in comparison. An interesting point about all of this is that while Jaunty made the animation, he wasn't the creator of the rig. Though I mentioned them before, at the time they didn't have a Twitter account. 3 days after the initial tweets, Kotinkoff would quote tweet the original post to say,
"Hi, author of the model here, and I just want to say, wow, this is a very interesting development of events."
There would be another tweet showing the turnaround of Courtney saying,
"So, since you all liked Courtney so much, here's my first attempt at rendering her. Also, fun fact, that model was never finished, and JauntywebAU had to work with a slightly unoptimized model."
Well, there are a lot of people poking fun at the character, this image popping up a few times, with the creator responding to it. There was also a lot of support. One funny quote tweet from Twitter artist Revirat would say,
"Me if I was in that university class."
On top of that, Jaunty would get quite a few fan arts of the character to show support of what he made.
Yeah, I mean, if the court person ever opens commissions, I'm sure they'd get a few clients based on that rig alone.
With all that I've shown, what do I think? Well, if you're in art college, seeing stuff like this is to be expected. Starting off, this reminds me of a comic by Happy Roadkill. It's about a cat asking Art Dog how they became so good at art, to which Art Dog says, "Become sexually hyperfixated on increasingly convoluted scenarios you know only you can truly actualize."
That's how I got better at art.
Well, yes, I can't imagine seeing this animation play in front of a class of people can be awkward. I'm sure everyone else's project was a little weird in their own little ways, forgetting the fact we don't even know what the actual assignment was. On top of that, the professor probably approved of the character rig and oversaw the progress of it.
Not only that, Jaunty probably got critique for this and improved his animation skills.
I talked about how Twitter is very anti-art and sometimes prudish in my other videos, and this is yet another example of it. A lot of people recoiled about how this is animated. Did y'all just forget a lot of artists are just like this? Such as Japanese manga artist Osamu Tezuka, considered the father of manga, drew mouse transformation porn that his daughter found many years later.
That'd be like someone's kid finding their dad's hidden DeviantArt account.
I can also point to Rebecca Sugar, Edna and Eddie art, as well as their Greg X Pro art they made, or even a more modern example is Gooseworks and her fetishes being shown in her own cartoons. One quote tweet put it best saying,
"Gooseworks got to release 30 minutes of her bizarre niche fetish starring her own characters, animated by some of the most talented 3D animators on the planet, and it got 34 million views in 24 hours. Feel however you want about her, but she won life basically.
Perhaps there's a spectrum graph of acceptability when it comes to how polished or overt the sexual art is in safe workspace, such as Mike and Melissa, another college project that was very overt in the creator's desires, but not that well drawn, and Courtney being well animated but less overt. Obviously you can point to the wiggling and jiggling, but still not porn.
If it was actually porn, I don't think they could have shown that, and they probably would have gotten kicked out of the class, beaten up, and shot behind the bleachers.
Like the Gooseworks example, she is a widely accepted artist, and her clear fetishes were an episode that, like they said, 34 million plus people had watched. But she doesn't have the same scrutiny. Perhaps is because it is more niche and less apparent, or perhaps her fans already know and accept that part of her work. But I think lacking sincerity leads to worse art. At the very least, a fear of being perceived can hinder your works. This isn't to say you should go all out no matter what, but in scaling back for fear of what others might say, you don't really get better at creating.
Yeah, hell is other people, and sometimes hell is just social media.
For the jaunty artist, they made the animation, presumably with the professor's approval, and will get better at the animations over time. Maybe getting a job in the industry, or maybe making not safe work and a bunch of money on the side for Patreon. A lot of the tweets I talked about were shown from the perspective of an audience member, distancing themselves from the medium itself and just worrying about the potential embarrassment or secondhand thereof. But then it's their turn to present their project. Would they wish to have the same judgment they put upon this person? Or, funny enough, maybe Jaunty have the same reaction to another artist going, "Geez man, I thought my fetish was overt."
Oh my god, imagine his was the tamest in the class.
This also going back to the Celine person who mentioned that they had to study the animation of a fat fetish feeder person, wondering why they had to watch it several times. Well, because they're in an art college, animation was probably made well enough for the teacher to use that example to show to the next class. They might still be showing that animation to this day, and someone's actually watching it right now.
I imagine the professor dusting off the old MP4 file to show students once again how it's supposed to be done.
I think it's a bit funny for this to even be talked about as a big thing on Twitter. Like, users are putting emphasis on people being forced to watch this and worry about secondhand embarrassments, like this isn't art college where you start to make bad stuff, then you get good at making stuff, and everyone there is an adult. Though honestly, if seeing a fat OC wiggling around is where you draw the line, then you probably shouldn't go to animation college.
I'm sure there's also a faucet of students actually trying to shock the professor and students alike that got more of a reaction than this. Or maybe even throughout the professor's entire time seeing a bunch of animations. This most likely isn't the worst thing someone has seen in the class.
Well, I have been drawing for a long while. It was until recently I've been creating art more consistently, more sincerely. A lot of my older video works, not on this channel, were on the basis of judging art by others while neglecting my own art journey and progress. That, instead of working on my own, I sought to tear down the sincerity of others for trying. It is something I regret and strive to do with these newer videos, to not only create on my end, but to encourage those to be better than me. And believe me, there's a lot of others better than me. You can see this in the fan art of my own characters.
And you all draw me so well.
But like we said at the beginning of the video, I'd rather you put discussion topics like this in the comment section of the video, rather than arguing with people on Twitter. Not only because you can better articulate your thoughts, but also because there isn't an incentive to get likes, so you're more free to discuss and talk about the subject at hand. In the end, a lot of this drama, if you want to call that, boils down to people shaming this person for animating something weird and showing it to the college class. Around the same time this tweet was making rounds, people were making fun of the indie pilot Wastelandia and the dialogue of it. I actually made a video talking about the pilot you can watch after this video, but Gooseworks make a few replies about it, saying,
"What upsets me is when it comes from people who pretend to care about art going,
This one made me cringe a little though, so it doesn't count.
since when did so many folks become so discouraging to people who just want to make cool shit?
She further said,
In my opinion, if a person actually respects and cares about art, a quippy dunk is the least efficient way to communicate a genuine criticism. It's a great way to get likes, but it hardly helps in an artistic sense. It more often discourages new people from trying.
She ended in one more tweet by saying,
I might just be a sap, but I will always want more artistic expressions from more people. Even if something doesn't appeal to me, I like when art exists without inhibitions. It makes me a bit sad that the current culture around indie is moving away from fostering that.
Of course, this wasn't about Courtney, but Wastelandia and how people react to indie animation. However, I can see a lot of parallels talking about what is cringe and how a quippy dunk just gets you likes. But back to the original animation topic of this video, is it badly animated? Well, on the surface, like I noticed some clipping, there were some people who gave actual genuine criticism with more in-depth critiques in their replies.
So what was the end result of all of this?
When nearly 13.7 million people saw this person's OC, probably got some news followers out of it, see got some fan arts, and will continue drawing and creating things. On top of that, the model maker Konstantinov would be slowly posting more on Twitter, even clarifying that, quote,
Fat girls aren't the only thing I want to or will be modeling in the future. Actually, probably quite rarely.
and so I wish them the best of luck in their future 3D model making endeavors. This isn't the last project they'll make in college, and they most likely will post more whenever they have more to show. I suppose we'll see future reactions if they use the same model for something else in the future, but I mean, you can't just animate one body type if you want to work in the industry, so we can assume that they have a variety of works in the future, and this might be just the one that got the most attention.
Unless he brings her back and we see her moving around one more time.
Come to think of it, I probably should mention that I went to art college myself. Not for drawing though, but for filmmaking, and I have a bachelor's degree for it. No student loans, by the way, thank God for that. But my program, we had to either write or film a lot of stuff. Believe me, a lot of the stuff that I wrote was shit, and I slowly got better over time. I found a love in making documentaries rather than more standard narrative pieces, along with digital compositing. My senior thesis was a documentary of a creator trying a new endeavor and finding love and trying something new. Though I was doing a lot of YouTube stuff at the time, so my studies weren't my main focus. But I still left with like a 3.8 GPA and got magna cum laude status, so I learned something from it.
Magna.
Basically what I'm saying is that art is more often than not a personal endeavor, whether it is pulling from your own sadness, happiness, or in this case, fetishness. Allowing yourself to get past the cringe factor, you can go on to make better works. This isn't to say to toe the line and see what you can get away with in class, mind you, but rather to keep working on your own art and improve over the course of your art journey. As funny as some of these clips on Twitter were, the person making the animation will more than likely go further in their respective life because they are putting their mind to actual work and furthering their education.
Yeah, everyone else most likely just went back to scrolling on their phones. When you finish this video, don't go back to scrolling on your phone. Go draw something.
Anyway, let's get out of my head for a little bit as we look at the audience responses.
I mean, if it's an art class, who cares? I'm sure there's weirder stuff than that there. Unless everyone was supposed to make a perfect copy of the Mona Lisa.
I would definitely send them, "I know what you are," memes in the course group chat. But, like, the animation itself is fine, I think. It's very bouncy and exaggerated.
This might be ironic coming from me if you know what I draw, but personally, I don't see the big issue or deal with this. Movement-wise, it's exaggerated, but that is one of the 12 principles of animation that is used in almost everything you can think of. I've seen people and other college students on X say that there's been animation more shocking than this shown in a college setting, and I have no reason to not believe that. This is tame, for the most part, and while yeah, it's suggestive and definitely a head-turner of a reaction, I don't feel like this breaks any rules or is inappropriate to show in a setting full of grown-ass college students learning animation.
Pretty neutral. If anything, brave to present it to the whole class. Yeah, maybe a bit obvious that the artist has an extra interest, but so long as it's not going for anything explicit, I would be completely okay with it and even provide some tips to help with motions and clipping.
I think this is a bit of a funny thing to look into, as nothing really bad occurred. All that happened was some guy animated his fat OC for animation class, and some people either freaked out or poked fun at it, for the fact that he was brave enough to do it in the first place.
But like, it's art college, so you're gonna see a few fetishes creep up in works. This one was just a bit more obvious.
And also the fact that the artist is still studying there, so I guess the professor didn't care. Most likely seen way worse in the tenure if they've been there for quite a while. I don't know if this is a mixture of modern prudism, the fact that the character is a reptile and falls under the furry category, which is that a lot of people want to dunk on an easy target because they can, but regardless, it's a perfect storm to create a discussion, and it was fun discussing it here in this video.
I guess this also counts as free advertising for them, so make good use of this, buddy.
At the end of the day, it's just yet another piece of animation showed on art college.
There have been many more before it and many after.
Oh, just like that car coming out of the tunnel.
Hey, did your car run out of battery?
Yes it did!
Well, mine didn't. Ta-ta.
God, I hate Cybertruck owners.
For April Fools this year, I made a joke about doing a Samantha redesign, essentially redrawing her with less thickness all around.
Losing weight is one thing, but losing my curves? I'll stick to being thick, thank you.
But let's read some funny responses.
Now she doesn't have back pain anymore. You de-twittered her. DeviantArt to Pinterest. Give them back. Rouge the Bat. Bro went on a diet. Thank God it was just a joke.
This is really just a coincidence in subject matter. I'm glad to have added this to this video and to read some of y'all's funny responses. We also got some fan art from a good friend of the show, Sen.
I always love this style. Thanks for the free beer.
Also, did you know that April 13th would be Samantha's 1-year anniversary of existing?
I did not know that. How fun.
I'll draw something for that day and share it then, but for now I hope you keep on drawing, and don't forget to have a great day.
I would definitely send them "I know what you are" me. Oh my God. Oh, I'm getting attacked. Wow, wow, wubsy, 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 wow, wow.
I am Samantha, I am a dog, and dogs like to go rough. This is the end of the video where I like to say stupid stuff.